we're live. Fragilities, thank you for the follow. How's it going?
The Empire of Japan. After opening its doors, a push for cultural transformation brought great waves of Western influence to this far eastern island nation. The revolution washed over the land, making life in the capital exciting and unsettling. It was a period of great change, and some was swept away by the tide. But for one man, the turbulence of that era was just the beginning of an extraordinary story.
Well, uh-oh. What? Oh, no, nothing. Favorite layers. Murder. Oh. Sorry. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I'm a second-year student at the Imperial Yumei University. 3 days ago, I somehow found myself in the middle of a horrifying incident. And now, here I am, awaiting my trial. That's enough. Not obliged to listen to such abuse, officer. He's got a sword. I'd say you listen to him. This man's lawyer, I'll be with it. Uh-oh. In his verdict on the case, and no one has the right to treat him as a criminal. And now he pulls out the sword. He haven't even graduated yet. But he has a sword. Yet I still seem to know better than you how a court officer should behave. Hello. Right, Ryunosuke? Oh. Yes, of course. Sorry. What are you apologizing to me for? Oh, I suppose that wasn't my fault. But really, Kazuma, I never meant to drag you into this. I'm sorry. Here you go again, apologizing. Just like always. I must say, you've been all over the newspapers these past few days. Yumei University professor murdered in cold blood by students. Uh-oh. But obviously, you didn't actually do it, did you? No, definitely not. You have to believe me. I didn't do it. Could never murder someone. There's nothing to worry about. Straighten yourself up, hold your head high. You mean... I believe you. I know you're innocent, Ryunosuke. I was holding the gun, though. Kazuma Asogi, my best friend, also in his second year at Yume University. But he's far more clever than I, a star student in fact. He's even a qualified lawyer. Impressive, considering he's still an undergraduate. It's not that impressive. The very concept of lawyers is only a few years old, here in Japan anyway. And qualifications don't mean much, yet. He said exactly the same thing 3 days ago. But I'm proud to have a friend like you, Kazuma. Truly. 3 days ago? What happened 3 days ago? That's when all this started. Congratulations, Kazuma. Looks like you're going to get to study abroad at last. I know! Been forever dreaming of this day. Finally, those government elites have acknowledged my academic achievements and successes in court. So you'll be representing Japan as you immerse yourself in the most sophisticated legal system in the world. I'm really happy for you, and proud, as your friend. Not a soul in the university who doesn't know Kazuma's name. He's a living legend. It's like there's some mysterious aura billowing around his temple. To bring about change in our own legal system. That's why I have to cross the ocean to see the real thing with my own eyes. The heart of the British Empire. I wish I could see it too. Then come with me. To have a wild time tearing up the streets of Her Majesty's City of London together. If only it were that simple. Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. Think I'll stay and enjoy this place a while longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow, then, partner. Oh, there he goes. Straight after that, that's when it happened. Sogi, may I have a word? Professor, I didn't know you were coming. Well, this case has personal significance to me. But never mind that for now. Asogi, you should go immediately to the judge's chambers. To His Excellency's chambers? Why? I was looking for you before. Advocating for the defense in this trial was a sudden decision. Seems there may be some confusion about procedures today as a result. Who is this man? I feel as though I've seen him at university before. I see. I'll go at once then. I shall accompany you. Alright then, Ryunosuke. I'll see you in the courtroom. Yes. Thanks, Kazuma. This is awkward. If I may... Yes, sorry. You must be the defendant. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, I believe. Yes, that's right. My name is Yujin Mikotoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University. Ah, Professor Mikotoba. I've heard that name from Kazuma before. As I recall, he's been pushing to get the government to agree to Kazuma studying abroad. So he's told me about you. You and he are best friends, I understand. As such, I feel you should know. Know what? Well, as you've no doubt heard, Asogi has been granted permission to go and study in Great Britain. However, if he should fail to defend you in today's trial, I am afraid that that permission will be revoked and never granted again. Uh-oh. What? As is expected, you were unaware of this. I had a feeling Asogi may have chosen not to tell you. He's agreed to defend me, knowing that if he fails, his dreams will be shattered. But I don't understand. Why would the government do such a thing? The administration has to choose from a large number of applicants for overseas studies. It's very difficult to persuade them to grant permission, even in the most favorable of circumstances. I don't believe it. But I didn't do it, I swear it. I'm not a murderer. I'm sure that's true. Nevertheless, I can assure you that proving your innocence will be no easy task. You see, there are certain peculiarities about today's trial. Sorry? What do you mean? You'll soon understand once proceedings get underway. Uh-oh. Then what should I do? Well, naturally I'm not going to suggest doing anything that could lead to a conviction. Right, so as soon as the trial starts, the judge will pose a certain question to the defense. When that happens, you must answer before anyone else. You must say, "I do." But what will the question be? Surely not, "Do you accept the accusations brought before you?" Of course not. Defendant. Court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. It would seem our surreptitious discussions are to be cut short. So, allow me to summarize. Kazuma Sogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Of course, as the defendant, the final decision is yours. What are you waiting for? You want to be found guilty for failing to appear? Get moving. There's no point in anyone advocating for the likes of you anyway. So they're gonna have me defend for myself. This is it. If the trial goes badly, Kazuma's dreams of studying abroad are over. And what's more, I'll be found guilty of murder. And so, with absolutely no idea of what lay ahead, I embarked on that unforgettable trial. My one and only chance of proving my innocence, the trial that would decide my destiny. Oh. 22nd November, 9 a.m., Supreme Court of Judicature, Courtroom 2. So this is a courtroom. Supreme Court of Judicature. No court in the land has more power. Not much like the looks of those people sitting in the public gallery. Lots of military and other uniforms in there. Powers that be have demanded that this be a secret trial. A secret trial? Trial is closed to ordinary members of the public. Only military and government officials may attend. What? But why? It'll become clear in time. But for now... need to concentrate, Ryunosuke. It's about to begin. Oh. The court will now hear the trial of Ryunosuke Naruhodo. The prosecution is ready, Your Excellency. As is the defense. Before we begin, there is one point of order I would like to confirm. Yesterday evening, the defense made a last-minute request for a change of advocate. That's correct, Your Excellency. I made the request myself. Normal procedure is for the defendant's advocacy to be decided 2 days prior to the trial. As this is an unusual circumstance, I'm obliged to ask for final confirmation now. Who advocates for the defendant in this trial? This is it. This must be the question. Who's going to defend me? That's the question the professor meant. But then, I say I do. I need to answer quickly. What should I do? Answer I do.
Yes!
Yes! I would like to inform the court trial that I, Ryunosuke Naruhodo, will be defending myself. You'll be... What? You playing at Ryunosuke? Professor Mikotoba told me everything, just now before the trial. He did what? So that your dreams of studying abroad would be dashed if you were to lose? How sad. Means you don't have faith in me. Think I won't be able to get you off. No, it's not that, really. Just that, well, in the off chance that things don't go well for me, I couldn't bear to be the reason that you... Yes, I think that's how you'd feel. Exactly why I decided not to tell you. Professor Mikotoba shouldn't have stuck his nose in. Very well. The court hereby recognizes the defendant's desire to advocate for himself in today's trial. Well, well, well. Does the accused admit defeat already? Renouncing his own counsel, really?
Objection!
Make no mistake, counsel. This merely shows that the defendant's innocence is so apparent he's confident he can speak for himself. Isn't that so, Naruhodo-san? Oh, yes, exactly. Exactly what I wasn't thinking. I'm not confident at all. In fact, my mind's a complete blank. Realize you're in charge now, but still, try not to look so bewildered. Well, for a mere university student to be brought before the Supreme Court. You must have perpetrated a most heinous crime indeed. As you are no doubt aware, this is the Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. Accordingly, the very highest standards of conduct are expected of all present. Do I make myself clear, Defendant Naruhodo? Yes, Your Excellency. That therefore my duty to assess your competence for the task you have undertaken. My competence? What does that mean? It's questioning your ability to do the job. Well, we can't be questioning it more than I am. So, start with the very simplest of questions. Oh, yes. Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case. Well, that's easy enough. I've heard his name more times than I care to remember. But, wait. I'm so nervous I can't even remember that. What was it again? Ryunosuke? Let me guess. Our mind's gone blank? You know me so well. All the relevant information for this case can be found in the court record. I can't even find that. Access the court record with the press of E. If you ever find you've forgotten something, just consult that. It's all in there. Just have to press E for the court record. Alright, there's no time to lose. Just a list of evidence. And switch to people. Yep. John H. Wilson. Most certainly not Watson. Definitely not Watson. So, remember, everything to do with the current case can be found in the court record. Now, you'd better not be keeping His Excellency waiting any longer. Go on. Find the victim in the people section of the court record, then press R to present.
Yes!
Yes, I am. The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. Well, at least you can remember the name of an esteemed member of your own university. Dr. Wilson was a visiting professor from England, invited to your May University 3 years ago. Indeed, which is the reason why this case has such profound implications. The British Empire is at present our country's most valuable foreign ally. And as most of you will be aware, we have just signed a new treaty together after lengthy negotiations. Can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. Surely, nobody hasn't heard of it. Despite these delicate circumstances, the blood of an Englishman has been spilt on our soil. You two are both undergraduates at the Imperial Humane University, are you not? Murdering a professor from the very institution that provides your education. Have you no honor? But I didn't do it. This case is coming under great scrutiny from our allies on the other side of the world. The court therefore wishes for a speedy resolution to this matter. In other words, our feeble government is scared of upsetting England's policymakers. And you're a convenient and expendable scapegoat to blame for this crime. That's why this trial has the unusual peculiarities, is it? Exactly. Our government needs to convict someone as quickly as possible. All because the victim was an Englishman. Yes, Dr. Wilson was an Englishman. But nationalities and treaties won't make any difference for me here. And the fact is, I was there at the scene of the crime. Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. Think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. The British Empire. Wow, it's incredible to think. Wait. I've seen that man at university. Sure, he's a visiting professor from Great Britain. I don't know his name, but still. Should go and say hello. So I went over to the professor's table and introduced myself to Dr. Wilson. Now then, let me pose my next question to you, Diffin Narhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. How did this professor of medicine, Dr. John S. Wilson, lose his life? State before the court the cause of death. Court record, yep. And it's gonna be with the post-mortem report caused by loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. Yep. By evidence? But how? I can... yeah. Prison?
Yes!
Yes! Well... according to this document, the victim suffered a hemorrhagic death due to gunshot trauma. Learn to read, you imbecile. That's the post-mortem report, I take it. Sorry, yes, that's right. The, post-mortem report. In the West, a doctor dissects corpses to identify the cause of death in an autopsy. But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws conclusions that way. Oh, I see. As long as I'm not going to be tested on any of this later. This is a so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. Add it to the court record, please. Thank you very much. And clear disking scorch marks are at the hole produced by the powder explosion. In other words, we should assume that the victim was shot at close range. Thank you, counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the record. The photographic print of the victim has been entered into the court record. That's a photographic print. Well, it's something I've never seen before. It's clearly superior to a drawing. Details incredible. Very well. I am satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial. Certainly, Your Excellency. So, without further ado, in order to better apprise the court with the facts of the case, the prosecution hereby calls its first witness who was there at the scene of the crime when it happened. This is it then. I think I may have worked out what the professor had in mind. The professor? You mean Dr. Mikatoba? Yes. Clearly you're the defense lawyer today, not me. But that doesn't mean... Well, I can still act as your assistant. Ah, of course. When he was speaking with me before, he simply said, Kazuma Asogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. He really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he? Maybe, but any help you can give me would be greatly appreciated, Kazuma. Well, my first piece of advice is, rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the cold sweats. If you rein in that crazy headband and control the cold stares first. It is a nice headband, though. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please. Of course. My name is Satoru Hosonaga. I'm the head waiter at a Western-style restaurant called La Carnival. Oh. Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up some, It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me. Well, it really should. As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern corridor was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants, an Occidental eatery, 3 days ago. Understood? Hosonaga-san, you will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident. At once, sir. And no petty interjection from the aspiring lawyer boy, please. Perspiring maybe, but aspiring. It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. We have few diners at that time of day. Was it just after 2 p.m.? A little after 2 p.m. Alright. Actually, could be space to examine. Well, not pass through body. That's gonna be probably something. The lunchtime rush was over, and there were only 3 tables still occupied. That fits in with my memory a bit too. There's hardly anyone else in the place. It was when I was in the kitchen putting away crockery and cutlery. A gunshot rang out, so I hurried out to the dining area to see what happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair. And standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student. Hold on. Let me just clarify something here. Well, I did pick up a gun that I found lying on the floor beside the professor. I didn't shoot him. I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness report of what he saw, you amateur. But next time you interrupt him at an inappropriate time, you will be penalized, Defendant Naruhodo. Don't worry, Minasuke. You'll have your chance to fight back. For now, we must quietly listen to the witness. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. It has nothing to do with the game, I swear. If I may confirm one point, waiter. Standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in court today. Yes, without question. I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim? No. There was no one else around at that table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Huh? Wait, what did he just say? There was no one else around that table? What's the matter, Minasuke? That's That's just not right. And I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello. There was a woman sitting opposite him at his table. Really? That's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? Okay. I feel like I do... This one, I feel like I... Well, if I don't interject, he might continue on, and then I can just interject after he's finished. But, just in case... I wanted to say something, but I was told not to interject. Murasuke, your parents told you to study. You're the kind of man who would diligently get to work, aren't you? I suppose I am. I never have gone. I'd never have gone into Humane University otherwise. But you can't just always follow the rules in life, you know. Don't say what you want to say right now. You'll seriously regret it when you are found guilty. Alright, you scared me. Don't forget that piece of advice in a hurry. And there is something I want to say. I'm just going to shut my eyes and say it. Alright. Didn't matter what I did. You just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it. There was a lady sitting with him at the same table. Dear me, what are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, this mere student, is not a real lawyer after all? But I'm sure of what I saw. Hosonaga-san, is there any chance you're mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy? No. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. He's in on it. I don't believe it. Actually, I have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Please, have a look if you'd like to. Let me see. A sketch of the establishment's layout drawn by yourself, I presume. That's right. I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. Business card. How would a waiter have a business card? That's gonna be something. Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Thank you, sir. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well, is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Yeah, he doesn't want us to see the business card. Of course, here you are. What was that about? It's been completely calm and collected until now. It certainly seems to have shaken him. If I just leave him here, does he just die from coughing too much? That's the other thing. They just put it into the court record as waiter's business card with sketch of the restaurant's layout on the back. Making it very obvious. So, the court has now heard a precis of the case. Yes, at the moment the gunshot was heard in the restaurant. The only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem we are looking at a black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo? Yes, Your Excellency. If you admit to your guilt at this stage... Why is he seriously don't know why I'm yawning so much. If you admit your guilt at this stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you. In other words, you may have some small reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I called this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details to the court. But I must warn the defense, if you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial. The prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime. What do you think I should do, Kazuma? What do you mean? Well, I'm going to be found guilty one way or another, it seems. But if you're not guilty, then they can't have evidence that you're guilty. Would it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? Everyone keeps telling me that this trial is unusual, about these peculiarities. You said it, Professor Mikitoba said it, and so is the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing now to throw that trust back in my face? Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then a defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that defense by whatever means necessary. You're just going to abandon that duty? Or going to give up on yourself? The battle hasn't even begun yet, Ryunosuke. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Then we'll see just how decisive this evidence really is. Indeed. Prosecutor Achi, please continue with proceedings. Well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be. I can be your angel. In a few short moments from now, that dumb Sharkian mouth of yours will be silenced forever. The prosecution calls its next witness. I think it's that voice that's just too much for me. Very well. Officer, bring forth the witnesses at once. Oh. Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. The Great Nippon Army's Imperial Sergeant Yasunosa reporting for duty, sir. Myself, I find employment as a purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the effervescence of our nation, Nippon, and conduct my trade from Rasute, a humble premises in the 2nd District, Kyoto, Koroketa, at your service. An antiquary and a soldier. What an unusual pairing. Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant of the day in question. They must be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned. Myself, I habitually take tea of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question, always post-noon, and not infrequently converse with interested parties regarding the curios with which I make my business. I can't understand a word that old man is saying. He's an antique dealer. That sounds like he's a regular at Le Carnival. He seeks out potential customers who may have interest in antiquities and tries to sell his wares to them. He obviously targets Le Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with rich clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest... It sort of looks like it could be a seller revenue, but... Now, you both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct? Affirmative! The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war. Sir! It was that black uniform rogue infantry man who unloaded his firearms, sir! This man's impossible to understand as the other. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said. So, This is the decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. The soldier was claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shot the victim dead. Yes. Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? I'm honest. I was feeling uncomfortable from the start. Now, the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the precise moment that the incident occurred. Sir, yes, sir. Standing by, ready to report, sir. Unsavory remembrance of a most acerbic afternoon. Yeah, he does make weird sounds. I was ingesting a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. Nah. That's gotta be something. I observed the enemy's actions with my own eyes. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel... No. It was not from the back. I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio. Well, so you certainly actually witnessed the vital moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon at the victim. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. That wicked university cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy. What times we live in when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad light of day. He's just pulling out a freaking sword in court. But this is ridiculous. I didn't shoot anyone. Is that really true, Ryunosuke? Yes! All I did was pick up the gun that I saw lying on the floor. After I had said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then, when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant, when I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it, so I bent down, and just as I was picking it up, if that's the truth, there's obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these two witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was. There is. Ryunosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witnesses. Cross-examine? Do it now. As we have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It is time to bring this despicable student... No. Clearly, the testimony the court has just heard... Clearly, the testimony the court has just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty...
Yes!
What in the name of Emperor is the meaning of this outburst? I mean, the defense demands its right to a cross-examination. Dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimaki headband boy next door told me to do it. How pathetic. How did he know? The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How could he possibly carry out a cross-examination?
Objection!
The defense is exerting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant. Counsel is so commanding. Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses. Alright, that's where the battle really begins, Ryunosuke. But I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination. Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witnesses' statements. How? He didn't fire the gun, which means what that soldier said has to be a lie. Well, yes, but it's just a case of proving it. And the key to doing that is evidence. Right, evidence. All I have to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now let's go, Runosuke. Don't let them beat you. Alright then. It's all or nothing. It's just wet little... Yeah. Cross-examination. The witnesses saw. Okay. Beefsteak. From the back, the cowardly little weasel. Well, guess what? He was shot from the front in the chest and subsequently died. Let me just also make sure, because this... Yeah, this does not say from the front. So I have to present my university color pen! Because... Oh. I can just magnify the glass on stuff, that's fun. Pork.
Yes!
There we go. What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Trusting some photographic printed by mustache? An inconsistency, sir! I mean, yes! There's a clear inconsistency here. What nonsense. What can this print possibly tell us that we don't already know? Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth. I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there is no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom. This is so frustrating. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court. Cosmo, what? What are you talking about? It's apparent from a single glance at the photographic print presented by the defense. There's a clear discrepancy here with the surgeon's statement. What? Sergeant Yesenosa. Yes, sir. What, sir? The statement you just made was this. The black uniform varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir. But no, that just can't be. And why not, cadet? Because... Take a close look at the print. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Ah. Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? Oh. What is that? Then just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it down again. Certainly, there's a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa? Yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious La Carnival steak, sir. What? The last testimony of the Kurt Horde has proven one thing beyond any reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Yesanosa, did not see the defendant firing a gun at all. That's absurd. I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom. Yeah! There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from that one discrepancy. So this is what being the ace attorney is all about. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there, he was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back.
Yes!
But I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up off the floor. And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either? Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Treasure? Indeed! The Hoy Erakoban, my prized coin! On each occasion when I visit that restaurant, it is my habitude to place in my bosom pocket a particular trinket of interest from my shop, Rasute. The hope of meeting a rich diner who might like to buy it from you. On the day under scrutiny, it was to the military man that I proffered my Hoy treasure. Believed that he would purchase such a rare find, I did not, but I was presented with little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, it was there no more. It simply vanished. The Koban vanished? Hunting around under the table, I was, in case mayhap it had fallen there. And then it happened. You heard the gunshot, you mean? Indeed I did, but I heeded it not, for I was concerned only with finding my absconded toy treasure. Nothing could distract me. Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end? No. I see. That lamentable day, the precious Hoy Koban was lost to me. No doubt some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself. As I am sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive, no matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British. It would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Archie? Very not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. My witnesses have further testimony to make. Explain. Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there is only one person who could possibly have committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryonosuke Naruhodo. What? Really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Very well. The court invites the witnesses to testify again. He will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear? As clear as clerical glass, Your Excellency. Yes, sir, at once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir. Excuse me. There's something, or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think. Affirmative. The newest member that knows the family to rise up to the ranks, sir. Name, Ido. It seems those straps are assigned to the sergeant B2 strapped to afford a nanny. Ido. Attention. He can't afford a nanny, which means that he did pocket the treasure in order to try to sell it to get money. Your father is about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy. The true culprit. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing. Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man he was, that young lad in black. Phoenix Wright is Asian, but this is the Asian Phoenix Wright. So, it's different. Young lad in black, not much I myself did see. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Indeed. Alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Just realized I'm giving Korokata and Achi the, like, exact same voice. Therefore, no one other than the black uniform cadet could have dispatched the Englishman. Over and out. These testimonies are certainly compelling. Oh. Wait! That's nonsense! The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't alone at all! Whether it's his Phoenix grandfather or father, maybe even further. I don't even know if they're related to Phoenix Wright. I think this is just a separate thing. I mean, like, very obviously, this guy's Prosecutor Payne. But, like, it's just a callback. It's... because this is, like, in the sort of, like, industrial era during when, like, well, no, self-clicking anywhere on my screen advances this, even if it's on a different screen. But there was a woman, a young woman at his table. Oh, nope, never mind. It does not advance the screen anymore. That is good. What did I want to do? Search to see. Yeah, so it basically would have been like 150. We're gonna say Phoenix ancestor? Okay. More you know. Must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her.
Objection!
If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of court and speak accordingly. Game looks super gorgeous. Yeah, it's amazing. We are not here to listen to your fantasies. It is evident beyond a reasonable doubt that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact. So, photographic print at the scene of the crime, counsel? Indeed, of the table with... I already know what the inconsistency is. Steak right there. That steak has been partially eaten. In the photo that was taken... Thank you. I take my years of acting very seriously. But in the photo that was taken while Dr. Wilson was dead, the steak had not been eaten at all. In this photo, the steak is partially eaten. Taken by an investigator immediately after the incident. So either this is a different table, or somebody else was there, and it was their steak that they started eating. As can plainly be seen, there's only one place set. Certainly, based on the appearance of this print, it would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else. This doesn't make any sense. The court will add this new photographic evidence to the record. A photographic print of the crime scene has been entered into the court record. I don't understand. What's going on here? It's just not possible that nobody else saw that woman. The waiter before said the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well. But that's not true. I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him. It would seem that we'll be able to telegraph the report to Great Britain on time after all. The witness testimonies we have just heard leave no further room for doubt. And these are very sensitive political times, as we all know. The ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. To think that I, Takasuchi Ochi, will have contributed to the amity of these two great empires is an honor. How can this be happening? The judge is ready to rule. Stand tall, Ryunosuke. It's not over yet. What? If what you say is true, then there's something going on here behind the scenes. And now's your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth in your cross-examination. I don't know, Kazuma. The defense is entitled to cross-examine the witnesses, but make it quick, understood? Rules can be so unbending at times. The truth. Okay. So... Oh, that's nice. I'm probably gonna have to press on some stuff. Yeah. It's pressing time. No. Listen, the first thing to do is calm down. You can't expect witness statements to be full of holes every time. Just take your time and try to tease more information out of them first. What do you mean? Press them. You can choose to either press or present against each of the witness's statements. If a witness is saying something you're suspicious about, press them on it with a cue. With a little luck, you may get more details, which could prove to be crucial. Right, I see. I do have to start pressing. Important point is, there's no sense in holding back. If anything even slightly jars with you, press the witness on it and press them hard. Alright, got it. I'll press them like blocks of tofu. The professor wasn't alone in the restaurant, I'm sure of it. In one way or another, this cross-examination is going to prove I'm right. I already know the discrepancy. I just have to figure out where I present it to. It's not the same thing at all. For a start, I didn't fire that gun. We have a difference of opinion on that. The opinion of a uniformed officer versus that of a fledgling cadet. I don't think so. Consider this defendant. Just a moment ago, I blinked. Did you? Did you see it? Did you see me blink? How could I? And yet, it is an undeniable fact that I did blink. So there you have it. Have what? Tension! And the sound of the firearm rang in my ears in the very next moment. I saw you waving the gun at the Englishman. I think that says it all, don't you? And let us not forget that the antiques dealer witnessed the accused in this most incriminating position as well. Isn't that so, Korekuta-san? Point is good. The farm man he was, that young man in black, that much myself I did see. That's something suspicious. You must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady there. As you have been at pains to point out time and time again, I feel I'm growing a callus in my ear. And yet, no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman. If only there had been more people dining there at the time, and someone else would have noticed her. Fortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. The quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant. I know. Of course the place was almost empty. That's what you'd expect. Certainly, 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of time to eat. Wonder if there's a reason why the victim was eating at that time of day, and why he was alone. But he wasn't alone. Yes, Your Excellency, there was indeed a reason. There was? This was found in the victim's jacket pocket. What is that, Counsel? It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem that the victim had an appointment at a clinic prior to visiting the restaurant. At a clinic? Yes, there would indeed appear to be an entry for the date in question. 19th November, noon to past 1 p.m. The very day of the incident. The victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on the case. I wonder... What do you think, Rinasuke? Well, it is hard to see how it could be related, really. Remember, you can request for it to be entered in the court records as evidence if you think it could be useful. So I asked for Dr. Wilson's medical report card to be submitted as evidence. I mean... Please.
Yes!
And if it's something that could be used as evidence, then... I'd like to ask for that medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency. On what grounds? The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence would be extraneous. Not to mention that the victims who would prior to his arrival at the restaurant are of no concern.
Objection!
Victim suffers from spontaneous gunshot-itis. Basically. Whether or not they are of concern is up to us to decide. We have a right to explore all possible avenues. I beg your pardon? You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence. Very well. The court will grant the defense's request. Answers these days are forever asserting their rights. It's the most disturbing trend. How dare they have rights? Rights for no one but me! Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record. The victim's medical report card has been entered into the court record. What we need right now is new clues. I already know what the freaking discrepancy is. Because... photographic victim. Bam. Look at that. Well, actually... I mean... Well, I guess the main problem is that I can't actually see past there. But let's see, that's 3.25 lines of stuff. And we're able to see 4.25 lines, which means that somebody else must have been eating it after he had died. Other thing is that there's this, which is on the back of his business card, but we can't look at the business card. I have to explore thieves from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Right, I hear you. You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like, but it's the day after the festival already for you. Or perhaps you'd forgotten that these witness testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate for the accused, Korikuta-san. Indeed, although he was the Englishman, dining all by himself.
Yes!
Let's press on this, I guess. So you actually saw that with your own eyes, did you? The victim, Dr. Wilson, dining alone? That I did. Forgive me for the position I placed you in. The testimonies of the old man, the soldier, and the waiter all agree on that point. Isn't that interesting? And let us not forget the incontestable evidence we have to support their statements as well. As can clearly be seen, there's only a single beefsteak on the victim. I know what the frickin' inconsistency is, I just need to know where the precision. Antique dealer, the surgeon, and the waiter who testified before. It's not impossible that they're all lying. But if so, then why? If I'm perfectly honest, I have absolutely no idea.
Yes!
Where's your tongue of the truth? What did you say, cadet? I clearly remember. There's the woman sitting across the table from the professor. Perhaps one of you might not have noticed. But for both of you to have failed to see the professor's dining companion, it's just not possible. Unfortunately for you, Defendant Naruhodo, it's not just a case of these two witnesses alone. Sorry? The waiter, whose testimony the court heard earlier, clearly stated the same thing. He also said that the victim was alone. That's right. Precisely. In other words, you're the sole proponent of this phantom lady. But if such a woman were indeed present at the scene, the prosecution demands to see proof. And if no such proof exists, the prosecution demands that no further mention of this phantom woman be made. It is a blatant waste of the court's time. There's nothing I can say to that. So, working in a city. With some new information now. Well, yes, but I don't feel like it changes much. Can't see that it brings any real discrepancies to light. Because I already know the discrepancy. To be so sure. You see that medical report card you got before. Oh, you mean this? Yes. This is a brand new piece of evidence. So perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. I wanted to. However, you press space. You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are the ones you may examine. Press space and you can take a closer look at the piece in question. Moves up, down, left, and right. Oh. Oh. That's how I can do it. I hate clinics. Oh, so much as I hate hospitals and surgeries. They all the same? I was 5. I caught the only cold I've ever had in my life. I remember, even though I felt awful already, I had to have this hideous injection in my right arm. I'll never forget it. Never in my whole life. Most people give their right arm to have had only one cold in their whole life. Anyway, I don't think this is a clinic where they treat people for illnesses like that. Let's keep looking for clues. We don't want to miss anything. Let's have a look. Some kind of medical history. And there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia. Extraction of... How would he eat the steak then? It would seem so. Just before the incident, he'd had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they used laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia. Though it's hard to believe there's anything that can actually stop you feeling pain. There's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure until anesthetic effects have passed. Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. There we go. We found it. How can I go back? Is there any way to go back, please? I know what it is. I just need to go back to the line, please. I know what it is. I want to go back to the line, please. There is a discrepancy, and it's because he was eating. Yep, I know. Come on. Dining all by himself. There we go. We present it to that. Oh, it's because I did. Come on. I already solved this. I just want to get past it, please. There we go. Art to present. That's what it was.
Yes!
Well, I think, But what are you wittering, lad? Call yourself a lawyer? I wish I could. But first and foremost here, I am the accused. Rinosuke. Everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Cosma. I could see it quite clearly in that cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, so purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. Alright. And thanks for the advice. Chronicles, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim. Ah, I see. And I don't see. What of it, boy? Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement. Something clearly doesn't add up.
Objection!
Dear me, have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur? Sorry, what? You are not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateur's drivel. But... let's see if I can explain in words for you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant. But that's, remember, Rinosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point. Your Excellency, I believe we are finished here. There is surely no need to prolong this trial further. The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there is no one else besides this pale-faced people who could possibly... Oh. This medical report card has nothing to do with the case? Do you really believe that? What? That outburst has petrified me, boy! Of course I believe it! How could it possibly be relevant? That's because Hada Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic. A dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me? Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted. Well, what's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that as a result the victim had been forbidden from eating. Just what are you trying to say, cadet? He had orders not to eat, so what? It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off. What? No, that can't... Kurakuda-san. What, boy? What? As you just heard, when he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. No. Additionally, there's more. You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dying alone. The character development. He slept fully. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic. Expertly done, partner.
Objection!
What? What is this nonsense, you little upstart? Where these are baseless accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table. Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic? How dare you? I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke? Yes. Yes, most definitely. So, having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who, in fact, was eating the pictured beef steak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel? Counsel? Oh, that means me, doesn't it? Alright, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of you turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. Got it. So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been... me! As yet unknown third party. Obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table.
Objection!
You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person. There was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak on his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It is clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial relentlessly. Kazuma. Are you insane? You would take on the government? Don't worry, Counsel. I have no issue with you. What do you mean? I have the issue with them, those two witnesses in the stand. What are you talking about? We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So if it now turns out that the two of you deliberately lied when given your testimonies, obviously you will be charged with perjury. Perjury? And, since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing. Complicit in murder? No! Hold it. Negative! There was no bitch at the tactical meeting. I was just following orders. That's right, as the man says. Just so you never saw the gentlewoman. That's what they told us. Oh. What? What did you just say, Kurokida-san? Oh, no? You were just following orders? Now hold on, lad. I was just, Hey. Say you never saw the gentlewoman? When you say gentlewoman, do you mean you saw the victim with a lady from overseas? What?
Objection!
What? What is the meaning of all this? These witnesses gave false statements. Is this true, you pair? Just one simple slip of the tongue. Order, order. Counsel, explain what is going on here. It is painfully clear now. You tried to prevent these witnesses from telling the truth. Absolutely not. The prosecution knows nothing of this. Oh, you slap. And who's behind this? Who tried to make you keep your mouth shut? Well, it's classified. You're prepared to be tried as a conspirator to this murder, are you? Let me just see something really quickly. Now that I know you can actually rotate stuff. Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector? Whatever. I have no idea. But let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence. They're wielding it somehow here. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. There we go. Just wanted to get that out of the way. You wouldn't. This can't be happening. Ryunosuke. Judging from the way they're reacting to this, I'd say they were sworn to silence by someone with considerable influence. Like maybe the Chief Inspector of the Police Bureau. However, I don't believe Achi had any idea about it. What are you saying? I mean, to wield that kind of influence, there are only a handful of possibilities. It could only have been the government, the military, or the police, I suppose. Well, any ideas about who might be behind this? If we can affirm we tried to silence these witnesses, then we can continue our pursuit. Just need to name whoever it was that tried to make the witnesses keep their mouths shut. Of course, we'll need evidence before making any firm accusations. I already have the evidence that proves whoever it was really did wield his or her power here. But how? How can we possibly? Remember how we made progress before? We examined this piece of evidence in more detail and found no clue as a result. I already did it! That's not the only piece of evidence we have, is it? We need to re-examine everything, and make sure there's nothing we've missed. There's no time to lose. I want answers. If it's proven that these witnesses have been manipulated, I assure you the penalty will be severe. Please, wait, Your Excellency. I had no idea about any of this. I swear to every Shinto god. I knew nothing. And what does the defense have to say about all this? Well, Your Excellency, I have to think. I'm just gonna have to close my eyes and shout out the first name that comes to my head. Besides the prosecution, the only necessary influence to manipulate the witnesses. Satoru Hosonaga.
Yes!
Well, surely that would be Satoru Hosonaga-san. Hosonaga-san? The waiter who took the stand earlier?
Objection!
Poppycock! What possible reason would the waiter have to make these witnesses give false testimony? Not to mention the fact that even a head waiter could not possibly have that level of influence. For once, I would agree with you. If, that is, the man truly were a waiter. What? If he truly were? Come on, Ryunosuke. Time to hit this court with the truth. The truth about Satoru Hosonaga-san's real identity, proven by this evidence. Oh, I have to flip it again. Oh, wait, no, I have to press the present button. I did the same thing again, where I pressed space instead of the present button. There we go. The plan of the restaurant sketched by the man in question. I agree there's a great deal of attention to detail. I'm not sure we can conclude anything. Sorry, Your Excellency. That's the back of the card. It's the back of the card. That's of interest. I beg your pardon? Or perhaps I should have said, the front? Yes, it's the front of the back of the card. That's where the telling detail is. Would somebody please explain what this overexcited student is trying to say? Hosonaga-san sketched the plan of the restaurant on the reverse side of his business card. The front of that business card reveals the man in question's profession. His true profession. the waiter's profession, but that's surely... Good gracious! That's right, Your Excellency. The card reads, Chief Inspector, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. What? The waiter is a police detective? I haven't heard any mention of this before. Why haven't I heard any mention of this before? The Imperial Police Bureau has immense power. Absolute power, as far as regular citizens are concerned. So, witnesses there in the stand. Was it in fact the waiter who gave you your orders? Was it he who told you not to mention that you'd seen this foreign gentlewoman at the scene? No, he didn't even leave his business card at the scene. He drew the little plan for the thing that was like, here's this plan that shows that they were alone. And then he drew that on the back of his business card. And then he had to hand it over as court evidence. He could have drawn it on literally anything else, and we wouldn't have had any idea. Yeah, he just had to give it to the court. It was... yeah. Oh, well. Oh. Inspector Hosanaga. I was worried something like this may happen. The moment you asked me to submit my sketch as evidence, I realized it was a possibility. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Yeah, very, very smooth brain. Well, is there a problem? Add the plan to the court officer at once. Of course, here you are. Yes, I remember now. He did act strangely when the judge asked him to hand over his business card. I strive to carry out all investigations flawlessly. It's my guiding principle. But I let myself be distracted when I made that sketch. It was an unusually careless mistake. So, you mean to say, you really are a detective? Why'd a detective be working as a restaurant waiter? Ah, of course, your salary must be terrible. I was working undercover. Undercover? Yes, there have been a series of incidents at the restaurant recently. In order to investigate, I decided to get a job there as a waiter, working undercover. Incidents at the restaurant? What kind of incidents? That would be classified police information, which I am not at liberty to divulge. However, I can state categorically that they are unrelated to this case of homicide. Very well then, Inspector Hosanaga, but you will elaborate on one point for the court. Of course, Your Excellency. We have just heard new information from the two witnesses beside you. That at the time of the shooting, there was in fact another person present at the victim's table. If that is indeed true, clearly you would also have been aware of this person's presence, having served at the table in question. However, your testimony did not allude to this other diner. Therefore, I am led to assume that in your professional capacity as a police officer, you required these witnesses to be in agreement. Would that be correct? Correct, Your Excellency. Unbelievable. As I expected. As soon as I heard the gunshot, I ran out of the kitchen to see what had happened. The victim sat slumped in his chair, and beside him, gun in hand, stood the accused student. Sitting opposite the victim at the same table was a young lady, who I guessed to be an Englishwoman. the truth comes out. I immediately sealed off the restaurant and reported the incident to the Bureau. It was then that I received some special orders. Special orders? You mean to say, remove the Englishwoman from the scene at once. It was made clear that the Englishwoman's presence at the restaurant was to be concealed. Those were my orders. But what if this Englishwoman was the killer? I think it would be in everyone's best interest not to pursue that idea. The Empire views the friendly terms of its relationship with Britain more highly than anything at the moment. An Englishman has been murdered on our soil. To name an Englishwoman as the primary suspect, well, without irrefutable evidence, that would be completely out of the question. So that's the reason for the disappearance of the Phantom Woman in this case. But it's not right. One possibility does spring to mind. What do you mean, Cosima? My university is currently hosting a number of exchange students from Great Britain. And I'm fairly certain that one of them, studying in the medical faculty's research laboratory, is a young Englishwoman. What? You're a shrewd man. I can see why you're the chosen candidate for the overseas study tour. You mean... When I removed the woman from the scene of the crime, I thought it prudent to check her identity first. And the court demands that you name the lady in question at once, Inspector. The Englishwoman sitting at the university professor's table was a certain Miss Giselle Brett. She is indeed a foreign student studying in the research laboratory of UMaine University's medical facility, or faculty. But what is happening here? I admit that under orders from the police bureau, I erased all evidence of this lady's presence at the scene, and ordered these witnesses to make no mention of her in their testimonies. It must now be up to your excellency to decide how to deal with this situation. Very well. My thoughts on the matter are as follows. Thus far, the case presented to the court has been underpinned by a particularly critical premise. Namely, that the victim was dining alone. However, as we have now discovered that this premise is false, it would be a desecration of our justice system to ignore the truth and give a ruling at this point. But Your Excellency, that would mean missing the new deadline of a ruling in order to send the telegraphic report to Great Britain. Our own government will surely be very displeased by such actions. Calm yourself, Counsel. I will not allow the government of our country, or any other, to influence the proceedings of my courtroom. Inspector Hosonaga. Yes, sir. You will locate this Giselle Brett and escort her to the courtroom with the utmost urgency. At once, Your Excellency. But that means you'll be going against the special orders you were given from the police bureau. As I said before, it is my guiding principle to carry out all investigations flawlessly. So, it won't be a problem. Nothing will get in my way. Honestly, he doesn't cop himself to death. Court will adjourn briefly. The prosecution must call the English student Giselle Brett to the witness stand. Do I make myself clear? Yes, Your Excellency! Good. Then we will have a 30-minute recess before reconvening. To be continued. In that case, it's just about 1:45, so I'm gonna save this. And as soon as the game lets me exit. G options. G options, there we go. Exit game. Because I have saved. Man, there we go. Yeah, the stream was super fun. I am very glad that you were able to show up, and it will be continued in 1 week from now, again at Tuesday from 12 to 2. So be on the lookout for that. And this Thursday from 12 to 2, I'll be starting out playing Darkest Dungeon. So, alright. I'm gonna just really quickly open up my creator dashboard. I guess. Yeah. Come on. Creator dashboard. Title. Say hi to the stream, Fido. Yeah. You've been a bad boy, climb my chair. Okay. Doesn't look like anyone I know is streaming, so I think I'm gonna just end the stream here. Bye.